Alcohol really isn't all it's made out to be. Despite the glamorous image that is often portrayed, the reality couldn't be further from the truth. All alcohol is poison. Nothing more, nothing less. When you can see that clearly and you remove all of the conditioning, stopping becomes a logical and simple decision. And today, guys, I'm going to share 7 reasons why I stopped drinking alcohol and have made the solemn decision to stay on that path forever. And guys, if you want to get access to a free video training showing you how to stop drinking without AA, willpower, or rehab, then make sure to click the link in the description. Now guys, the first reason why I stopped drinking alcohol was because the hangovers seemed to be getting worse and worse. We all know that during our early drinking years, hangovers are almost non-existent. However, as you may well have already experienced, the honeymoon period doesn't really last that long. As my intake increased, the hangovers were slowly getting worse and worse. They went from a bit of a headache and an upset stomach to feeling like my whole world was collapsing. I honestly felt pretty close to death when I was hungover. I felt like I was double my age, I felt sleepy, I felt slow, and I felt anxious. And because my drinking kept increasing over time, the severity and the frequency of these hangovers kept increasing as well. Honestly, these days, it's great to wake up and have no hangover whatsoever. I just wake up, bounce out of bed, and get on with my day. Now, it's been over 2 years since I last drank alcohol, so I do kind of take this for granted. But, like I'm doing now by racking my memory and remembering just how bad hangovers used to be, I'm extremely grateful to no longer have them. You know, no more worrying about alcohol in my breath, no more worrying about performing in my business. I just wake up and I just get on with it. And that was the first big reason why I stopped drinking alcohol. Now, this one's going to be a good one, guys. The second reason why I stopped drinking was because I was tired of making my family feel so worried. Now, I'm just going to be really honest with you guys. But when I drank alcohol, I used to scare my family. I'd go radio silent on them for days, if not weeks at a time. If they called, I'd ignore their call, especially if I had been drinking. They knew that I drank pretty heavily, so if I answered the call, I knew that they'd be worried. So I just typically ended up ignoring it. It was almost as though I had to live a double life. I'm not sure if you guys can relate to that, but for me, it was pretty embarrassing. I was pretty ashamed. My family used to worry sick about me. Imagine having to put your family through that torture. It's ridiculous, selfish, and stupid behavior. And that is not the man that I wanted to be. If I kept going that way, I'd slowly lose the respect not only of my family, but from myself as well. Now, luckily, these days my relationship with my family is totally different. They respect me and they respect the work that I'm doing now with SoberClear, helping other business owners and professionals go through the same transformation that I did. No longer having to make my family worry is great. The third reason why I stopped drinking is because I was packing on some extra pounds and getting a little bit out of shape. Now, I've always liked to consider myself somebody that maintains a good body shape. However, as we all know, alcohol has a bit of a three-pronged attack. The first thing is that you have all the extra calories from actually drinking alcohol. You've got 7 calories per gram to be precise, but then you've got all of those extra sugars and extra calories in those drinks. Then your food choices become worse. Your inhibitions go out the window, so there are additional calories from that. And the third thing is that workouts also become a lot less frequent. It's very easy to justify skipping a workout when you're hungover and feeling terrible. And it's also easy to go into a workout half-hearted when you're hungover. All of these things combined goes in one direction: increased body fat and muscular atrophy. And this happened to me in a pretty big way. A few weeks before I stopped drinking for good, I was in the worst shape that I'd ever been. I was soft, I was puffy, and I wasn't looking the way that I wanted to look. My strength had deteriorated and I was losing muscle. As soon as I stopped drinking, I launched myself into a better life and I hit the gym hard. I got back into strength training and started taking good care of myself again. That was a pretty great thing. Now, the fourth reason why I stopped drinking alcohol was because my self-esteem was pretty crushed. It's quite hard to admit this, but when I drank alcohol, I felt really bad about who I was. My self-esteem was low, like really low, and I did have some major issues in this department. A combination of continually poisoning myself, not performing at 100%, and breaking promises to myself is a terrible recipe for good mental health. And to be honest guys, that was me for a very long time. I just didn't feel particularly confident. I had actually tried to start a YouTube channel a number of times. I would have periods in my life where I didn't drink alcohol and I'd feel confident. So I'd start making videos and start sharing my message with the world. You can actually look back at some of the older videos that I've made. Now I have removed most of them, but there are a few left. All those videos are from when I was having periods of sobriety. However, every time that I started drinking again, that would be followed by doing absolutely nothing. Because I was drinking, I felt bad about myself. Because I felt bad about myself, I didn't put myself out there. Because I didn't put myself out there, I felt worse and worse about myself. Now this cycle went on and on and on. Now that I'm sober, my self-confidence is totally different. I feel good about who I am and who I am becoming. And it feels pretty great. I had the confidence to move to Thailand, start an online business, helping other people stop drinking alcohol and get into a relationship again. The contrast in how I feel about myself is immense. Guys, the fifth reason why I stopped drinking alcohol was the increase in anxiety and depression. This kind of leads on from the previous point. Whilst my self-esteem was slowly going downhill, this ended up leading to more depression. Not feeling good about myself and who I was led to a cloud of negativity and bad emotions. Now, I'm not going to say that I was clinically depressed or anything like that, but my emotional health often took a beating. In addition to this, because I wasn't particularly performing well at anything, this led to an increase in anxiety. I was always afraid and worried about the future. I never looked at the future with a feeling of optimism. I was always looking to the future with some sense of fear. I was afraid who I might have upset, whether I'd be able to keep my job, and how I'd keep going on drinking the way that I am. Combine a hangover with these emotions and you've got a pretty strong recipe for disaster. My emotional health was pretty bad. Now this area has improved in such a dramatic way these days. Anxiety and depression have decreased to a point where they are almost non-existent. You know, I'm still human. I'm not going to say that I'm 100% perfect in this area, but the contrast is night and day compared to just a few years ago. Now the sixth reason why I stopped drinking was fear of not reaching my potential in life. I knew that I was put on the earth to do something epic. I wasn't put here to give life a half-hearted attempt. I truly want to give it my all. I want to travel, I want to build a business, I want to have a great relationship, I want to have a family, and I just want to build a really great life. However, the amount of times that I had written or journaled about alcohol being the one thing stopping me from reaching that was insane. I had written about it so many times. I knew it was the one obstacle that I had to overcome to reach any kind of potential in life. Alcohol was like a barrier that needed blasting with, I don't know, a damn shotgun or something. It just had to go. Now that I've gotten rid of alcohol, my potential becomes 100% possible again. I can set bigger goals and I actually have a chance of achieving them, instead of self-destructing after a few weeks. This is a very big thing for me and it's a huge benefit in my life of not drinking alcohol. Now the seventh reason why I stopped drinking is because alcohol simply stopped providing any benefits. While this isn't really a reason that I stopped drinking, I wanted to put it in here so you can understand the mindset shift that occurred in my life. I used to look at alcohol as something that provided value in my life. I was convinced that alcohol gave me some kind of benefit. I thought that it made me more confident, more courageous, and it was helping me to have a good time. I thought that alcohol made me more sociable and it helped me to relax. Now, I realize now that this is all part of the conditioning and all of the reasons are 100% false. None of them are true at all. When I started to understand that there are in fact zero benefits to drinking poison at all, everything started changing. So maybe I should rephrase what I said earlier. It wasn't really that alcohol stopped providing benefits. It was understanding that all the so-called benefits weren't benefits at all. It was all fabricated in my own mind. Being able to see that there were no benefits to drinking poison was a huge part of the journey, so I just had to throw it in here. That was arguably the catalyst that got me on the path that I'm on today, which is creating soberclear.com and building this YouTube channel. Guys, if you want my help to stop drinking alcohol, I've made a very short 10-minute video talking to you about my method to see if my method would work for you. I typically work with entrepreneurs and professionals that have tried AA, they've tried willpower, they've tried multiple times to stop drinking, but they failed. So if you want to learn more about that, then make sure to click the link in the description. And if you click the videos on the screen right now, you can learn more about the stop drinking timeline and also 4 surprising truths of giving up drinking. Thanks a lot.